Hello everyone and welcome to Lush and Salty Aquariums. My name is Stefan and thank you for supporting the channel. We're at the ADA 60H. It's the high version of their 20 gallons, so it's actually 22 and a half gallons or maybe even 23. I forget, but it's awesome to have those extra couple gallons and it's all in the height. And this is the tank, as some of you already know, because I always highlight this fact in my fish room tour. It is what I would look at when I'm sitting in my chair, which is right here. And surprisingly, that the flash of the twin star light doesn't really bother me because, I don't know, maybe I'm used to it. I'm also, when I'm in my chair, it's at a certain angle where it doesn't particularly vex me. In any event, I could get a shield for that light, and maybe I will one day, but this is in lieu of a TV set, which probably would be mounted right there, if this was any other person's den. But it's my fish room. Yay, fish room! Centrally located in my house in Chicago, in my apartment, I should say. And I wanted to show off this aquarium for y'all. I'm gonna move in a little closer. I just fed all of these fish some baby brine shrimp. And yeah, it's small rasboras and tetras, so baby brine shrimp is one of the best, if not the best food you could give these fish. It just checks all the boxes, and it's a thrill to give them live food because it gets them just totally vigorous, fins up, colors bright, jostling about, just doing everything in their behavior pattern that fish keepers love and adore. You can see the SB rasboras or the lamb chop rasboras with that glorious bronze hue intermingling with the rummy nose rasboras, picking off the baby brine shrimp as they flit about their final journey in life. And usually when I feed the baby brine shrimp, it's only a matter of time before a rather large group of panda coreodoras come out. There's one, there's two, there's no, that's an otocinclus. What a shame. When I picked up the camera, there was like 8 of the cories right there in front. But now they're probably in the back. Here's a few more coming to scavenge. Everybody loves the panda coreodora. They stay small, they're inexpensive, relatively easy to breed, and they're cute as the dickens. The way they just busy themselves, kind of like little terriers, cute little terriers playing in the yard. Fish are pets, even coreodoras, maybe even especially coreodoras. Pandas are a favorite of mine, and so many of you in the hobby for obvious reasons. The reason I'm looking down, speaking of reasons, is because if I get to the wrong angle, I might pick up some glare. You see that in the bottom left. So I'm trying to avoid that. I'm trying to improve the quality of my videos. I've had some difficulties with that lately, so I beg your pardon and appreciate your patience. I'm working on it. Just like fish tank keeping, fish keeping, aquascaping, there's a learning curve, and for us fish tubers, it can be the technology as well. I mean, it definitely can be the technology as well. I mean, we don't have our channels without some skill set when it comes to making these videos. And for me, that usually just entails grabbing an iPhone and filming, but I've been trying to expand what I can do, and the results have been questionable at best. I used music in my last video, and I think that was a quasi-fail, just sort of distracted from my lovely melodious voice. And the resolution quality was for shit, excuse my French, and please YouTube don't flag me for that cuss word. In this tank, which is about as heavily planted as you can get in an aquarium, we've got Cryptocorn balancea on the right hand side here, intermingling with leopard jungle veil, comprising sort of a frame for that side of the tank. That group of green stem plants back there. It's really kind of a bunch at this point. Some of it might not even be rooted. Is pogo stem and octopus, an easy, fabulously textured plant. Highly recommend. Grows like a weed. Maybe it is a weed. And then this is Rotala indica, and I just trimmed it. The tips might start to get a more bronze hue when they reach the for the light and get to the top there. When I say just trimmed, it was about a week ago. So that's a nice fresh looking cut now. It doesn't have the sheared, sharp, pointy edges right after you trim your aquarium. Cryptocorn Wendetti, I think the green variety. Clearly it is most definitely green. If it's not Wendetti, it's a similar cryptocorn. And then I've got some Bucephalandra here. That looks like Godzilla, and it's doing well. It's giving me sort of a rare purpley red in this tank. And I have some Sterigen repens and dwarf hairgrass at the bottom. Not trying for a carpet at this moment in time. There's just so much shade, so much going on. It's hard to cut way down there with that added extra height. So I'm just letting it be au naturel. I highlighted two of the fish, the SB rasbora and the rummy nose rasbora. The rummy nose rasbora, the males are the ones that are stunningly beautiful. The females, I'm sorry to say, are pretty drab. There's two of them there. They just look like something you'd see in the back corner of Petco swimming around forlornly. But trust me, those are much harder to find than the males, and you don't need, but it's desirable to have a few females in there to bring out the best in the males. Yeah, they will color up to wrestle with one another, to flash, if you will, but nothing. In most species, this is true. Having the opposite sex just works wonders for the fish's behavior, and I'm sure it makes them all happier as well. So I'm delighted to have a few females in here. I think I have 3. As for the SB rasboras, they're smaller than their cousin, the Harlequin rasboras, and nothing against those fish. I've got 20 in my display tank, but these SB rasboras are just bronzer. They're more like metallic, and they stay a little bit smaller, making them an ideal choice for a nano aquarium. I mean, if I don't have resolution issues, God forbid, with this video, are you seeing that bronze shimmery metallic? I mean, that's incredible, incredible. I often forget when I'm filming in this tank, but I have a small group of Ember tetras too. Kind of they are the classic red fish for nano keepers. They're easy, they're cheap, they're cute, they're not aggressive. They almost work in any tank. They can find their way and stay out of trouble. I have one honey gourami. There he is, gorgeous fish. I call these fish the alternative to betas. You can put them in a community tank. You can put them in by themselves, and they behave similar because they're a gourami to a beta fish, in that they have the labyrinth organ, and they stay kind of near the top, and they can rest, and they're not aggressive like a beta fish. So if you want that explosive color and potentially something to contrast a couple schools of fish, honey gourami is a wonderful candidate. No fish in this tank is rare or hard to find. The rummy nose rasbora used to be tricky and a bit expensive, but honestly, not so much anymore, which is great for me and great for you. This snail up here is not a nearite, and it's not a mystery snail. It's certainly not a ram's horn. It's certainly not a pond snail. I forgot the name of it. It starts with an X, like Xanthus snail, and I got a few of them at a swap, and the guy told me they're very hard to come by because they're illegal to transport and sell in the United States. So I hope the police don't come breaking down my door because I have this snail in here. It's a pretty cool looking invertebrate though. Here you see him just working along the top of this canopy of rotala, and there is a nice looking amano shrimp, or that could just be a large neocaridina. I had some like orange backed that had grown, you know, the wild form over time, and they tend to look like that, like sort of like big amano shrimps. But what's nice about these two creatures up here, when you first cut your plants, it's very vulnerable to algae because it's so close to this light source. There's not a lot of flow right at the tippy top in a lot of our heavily planted tanks, and these creatures will help work on the algae that will quickly start to form in these particular places. All along the top is very vulnerable, especially after a trim. I don't have that problem in here. You see some BB, some blackbeard algae along the edges of some of these Vallisneria fronds, and yeah, that happens a lot with this plant. It's no big deal. That's where the flow is. Blackbeard algae loves flow, and so it's getting that, and I don't mind it. You know, the debate about algae goes on, but the bottom line is it's part of every natural ecosystem, and it's going to be a part of all of our tanks in one way or the other, and I'm certainly not going to chase remedies one after another when it's such a modest algae experience that I'm getting in this tank. You'll see some, and that leaf right there has algae on it, that anubias. And you know, the way to solve that is just clip the leaf, which is probably something I'll do in short order. And then you see a new leaf growing right there. It's just no big deal. And when you step 2 feet away, and I recommend we all do this when we're admiring our tanks. Maybe not use this vantage point when you're judging or just looking at your fish tanks, because with the inspector eye, with the critical eye, the magnifying glass, if you look for trouble, you'll find it. So maybe from a couple feet away is what we should consider our ideal distance to evaluate our aquascapes and our aquariums. I mean, after all, that's generally how we view them anyway, except when we're doing maintenance. I don't know, just an odd thought there. I should mention this wonderful carpet of moss here. I know it's not Java moss, I think it's Christmas moss, but it could be Christmas moss and flame moss or even weeping moss. I'm sorry, I mean, I've just named half of them, but it's a combination of one or 2 or more of those mosses. But what's neat is it's staying fairly contained, but it's aggressive over the hardscape in that particular spot, which forms a fascinating feature for this tank. And I do trim the edges so it doesn't become unruly, but I kind of like it. And see, as we pull back, it almost looks like a dark green waterfall over there. All right, everybody, if you have any questions or comments about this particular aquarium, by all means hit me up. Love to hear from you. I'm looking forward to 2024 and sharing more of my tanks and experiencing all of yours. So, as I like to say, always keep your hands in the tank, and ciao for now.